Hi everybody, my name is Lee Boonstra. I work as a customer engineer for Google Cloud within the Benelux. And I'm mostly visiting the banks and insurances companies here in the Netherlands. So that is where you might know me from. I have a background in engineering. I love to develop applications and also chatbots. And that is what I like to talk about today, about creating conversations for chatbots and voice-activated speakers, such as Google Home. I'll talk a little bit about conversation agents in general first, and then after that I will mention or I'll explain what Google Home is. And it's actually powered by machine learning, so we will cover a little bit of that. And then after that I will tell you how you can create your own custom conversation agents or your own chatbots through our Google Dialogflow platform. And then after that we will have some time left to answer some questions. If you have any questions, feel free to write down the questions down below. And if you'd like to leave some feedback for me, you can fill that in the right form of your screen. Okay, so they say by 2020, this is actually research done by Gartner, that 30% of the web browsing sessions will be done without a screen. And 50% of all these searches will be done by voice. And over 85% of customer interactions will be even managed without a human. Now think about that, right? How would we do that nowadays? Well, we all live in a world where we have so much web services around us. And web services, or APIs, REST APIs, they typically answer JSON objects or XML feeds to us, right? And that is very much machine learning language. Kind of looks like code. Now, how can you make that more human understandable? And that is through chatbots or conversation agents, where we would take that feed and then we just present it in a nice human understandable way. So for example, if you take that same JSON feed that I showed you before, and instead of just showing you code, we say like, oh, let's book a flight from Los Angeles to Hawaii for less than $300. And the answer could be like, okay, you got it. So chatbots and voice-activated speakers. Chatbots, those are the little pop-ups that you see on websites, right? You talk to a virtual AI, a computer. And the voice-activated speakers, those are the speakers that you put in your house, and they typically have a microphone and a speaker. And they're always connected to the internet. And now maybe you're wondering like, but chatbots, they already exist since the 90s, right? Well, actually that's true. The first chatbot was created in 94. But back then, when we created chatbots, I mean, they were kind of stupid. I mean, you filled in a sentence and you had to literally mention that sentence, otherwise it wouldn't understand you. So the chatbot would say like, well, I don't understand you. And that is exactly what breaks a chatbot, or it can make or break a chatbot. If it doesn't understand you, yeah. And that is where nowadays, in the world where we live in now, it's all machine learning. What you see here on the screen is a picture of Sundar, where he said like, yeah, it's an AI first world. So machine learning can really help you with understanding what the user says and then give you the right answer back. So it really can understand the sentence and it knows on what objects it needs to take actions on. So that's the difference. Now let's take a look into the Google Home and see what Google Home is and how that is any difference to chatbots. The Google Home, I mentioned it already, it's a voice-activated speaker. It's a speaker with a microphone, it's connected to the internet. You need to activate it. We can do that with the words, okay Google, and then it starts listening to your question. And you can talk to it and it answers you back. We have Google Home, we had the normal size one, but now we also have the Google Home Mini and we even have a Max version. So you can really, it fits nicely within your home and it's great for playing audio as well. So the Google Home, that is the voice-activated speaker. But the magic in this speaker, that is actually the Google Home Assistant, the Google Assistant. And that's the conversation between you and Google that helps you to get more things done in this world. Now, the Google Assistant is actually integrated, and not only in the Google Home, but it's also integrated in your phone. So if you have an Android device with Marshmallow and up, yeah, you already have access to the Google Assistant. Smartwatches, Google Assistant is integrated in that one as well. And even when we talk about the self-driving cars, also there Google Assistant will be integrated. Actually, nowadays it's almost in every Google device that Google releases. We'll make sure that it is somehow integrated with Google Assistant. What can this Google Assistant do? Well, it can help you with managing tasks. For example, you log into your Google with your Google account, and then you can ask, for example, like, what is my confirmation number for my flight to Philadelphia? And then it knows your confirmation code, because that's somehow integrated within your Google account. You can ask the Google Assistant to plan your day. So I could ask like, what time do I need to leave if I want to go to work? And it knows like, oh, there's actually traffic on the road because of Google Maps. Or I can ask the Google Assistant like, hey, why don't you plan a calendar meeting for me for 3 p.m. today? It all works. You can use the Google Home or the Google Assistant to create memories. So I can say like, please remember, I parked my car on the Overtoom. And then next hour or in the end of the night, I can ask the Google Assistant that, where did I park my car? And it will tell me, well, you told me you parked your car in the Overtoom. You can use the Google Assistant or the Google Home to control your house. So imagine if you have like these smart light bulbs, like Philips Hue, or you have the Google Nest, the smart thermostat. You can ask Google like, hey, turn up the heat, dim the lights. I like to watch some Netflix on my Chromecast, or I like to listen to Spotify through my speakers. And since it's all connected to it, it can all control you just by voice. It's pretty cool. It's not only for users or consumers, right? I mean, you can also create ideas that will be nice within your work, within your company. Imagine that if you have an application, an internal application, for example, where you can book meeting rooms. I can ask the Google system like, okay, Google, let me talk to the Book a Meeting Room app. And this is a custom experience, so this is not integrated in Google. Let's assume that this is something that I created myself. So at that moment, the Google Assistant will say like, sure, here's the Book a Meeting Room agent. And at that moment, you will hear a voice change, because now I will enter my own custom agent, and it will start talking to me. So it will say like, welcome, how can I help you? I like to book a meeting room for 3 persons. Sure, for when? Tomorrow between 2 and 3 p.m. And then at that moment, the Google Assistant or your custom agent can talk to your internal applications, and it says like, okay, I need to book a meeting room. The object that I need to take action on is 3 persons, so that can be a parameter. And then a timestamp for tomorrow 2 to 3 p.m. That system will see if it's available, and let's say assume it did. It tells you it's okay. And then the agent can say it in a nice human way back, like, perfect, your room is booked. This all is powered by machine learning. You saw earlier today already Rakesh talking about machine learning. I will explain it once more again, but on a very easy way. This picture here, this is Sundar during our Google Pixel event. It was actually in 2016, and where he said, like, from now on, we will build our applications with the AI-first approach. Back in the days, we did a mobile-first approach, and it was great. Maybe you know, like a mobile-first approach, that means that you build applications for the smallest screen, and then automatically it will work great on bigger screens, so on desktops as well as on mobile or maybe even TVs. And that approach was for years a very good approach. But now, since so many people created all these applications, we collected so much more data. And because we have all this data, we now can make smarter applications we can learn from all this data. And that is what machine learning is. So think about this, like, how did you learn your first language? How did I learn Dutch, for example? I tell you, it was not my parents that handed me over a dictionary and told me, like, Lee, you need to read this book, and by the time that you read the last page with all the Z's, then you're a master in the Dutch language. No. I learned the Dutch language by example. It was people that told me, like, look, Lee, that's a car. It has 4 wheels, drives on the road. And that's a bike. It has 2 wheels and drives on the road. And just by hearing that many times, I start to remember, okay, well, that's a car, that's a bike. And if I would say it wrong, I'd say, like, hey, there drives a bike. There's a bike on the road. And I would say, and then my parents would correct me and say, like, well, yeah, it's actually a tandem bike because it has 2 seats. And I start correcting it myself and, remember it the next time. The same is for machines. Data scientists, they create a model, and we put lots and lots of data in that model, and at some moment we will finally start to recognize patterns. And we can correct these patterns, like if it gave the wrong predictions. So AI, that is actually the umbrella term. That is like the process of creating smarter computers. But machine learning, that is the process of making computers learn by example, learn by data. And actually there's an observation that is made, and it's actually much easier to let a computer learn based on its data than to build an actual smarter computer program. And that is because, like, back in the past, for example, we used lots of decision trees, if-else statements. So we'd say, like, well, if I do this, then something else happens. But the thing is, if you as a developer write code like that, there is always a way how you can break your own code. And if you create models with machine learning, where you learn from your data, it actually always gets smarter over time. Why is machine learning now so hot? Why is it such a trend nowadays? It's actually just because of data centers. Data centers that give you access to store all your data, and also to compute all your data. Like, you need lots of computing power to do these calculations or to train models. You can do that on a small laptop, but it will take maybe 7 days, where if you just take 7 computers in the cloud, then it's 1 day. And if you multiply that by 24 and by 60 and so on, you can get it, like, right away. So data centers, that's the thing. And for the rest, also we have, like, smart data scientists and better models nowadays. So that's why machine learning is really, hot now. Google uses machine learning in all of their applications as well. It's like, for example, in Gmail, where we can classify spam, Google Translate, Google Search, the search ranking, the speech recognition. This is all powered by machine learning. Machine learning in the cloud, why do we think about Google when we talk about machine learning? Well, first of all, you can train your own model. This is the stuff that Rakesh earlier today was mentioning about. Like, let's say you're a bank and you want to predict stocks. In that case, you want to create your own machine learning models and train it with your own data. But Google also has pre-trained machine learning models. These are the machine learning models like the Vision API or the Video Intelligence API, where Google trained a model with all Google's data, and now it gives it over, it hands it back to you. And you, as a developer, can just make a REST call and consume or make use of this machine learning. And the last type of machine learning, that's actually the conversation agents, the chatbots, the magic what's in Google Home. This has all been done with natural language processing, specific for creating conversations. So let's take a deeper look into that, and let's think about how can we create our own agents. Maybe on top of Google Home, maybe on top of Alexa, or maybe you want to create chatbots for your website or your mobile phone, right? We have a platform for that. And that platform, and with Dialogflow, you can create these smart conversations. So it really will understand what you're saying, and it knows what kind of answer should I give back. It has support for multi-languages, 14 actually, and you can integrate it with all kinds of platforms. So for example, I can create a chatbot for Facebook, or for Skype, or for Slack, or Google Home, or Alexa, or even Cortana. Why Dialogflow? It has this powerful intent recognition. So when I say something, it understands the sentence, what I'm saying, and it understands the object where it needs to take action on. It's cross-platform. You can run it on Google Home, you can run it on your mobile phone or on your website. It works everywhere. And you can train your own intents. So let's say that I have a lot of people that are trying out my chatbot. We can train it, and over time the chatbot will become smarter and will always give the right answer back. So the way how you would do this is typically you would create a chatbot in Dialogflow. Dialogflow previously was called API.ai, so maybe you recognize the logo, but it just had a name change, but it's called now Dialogflow. And Dialogflow you would create your conversation in, and then you can use a platform like Google Platform to create extra code on top of it, so you can talk to external APIs or services, for example. How would such a flow look like? Well, for a chatbot on a website, the user would start typing, and Dialogflow would recognize the intent and will be aware of the context. And then it can, in case you need to have an answer from an external system, it can just make that call for you, take the right parameters out of your sentence. So if I, for example, ask like what's on TV tonight on RTL4, then it will understand, oh, RTL4, that's a TV channel name. We'll take that one as a parameter and we'll send it to the external system, and the system could send me back what's on TV tonight. In this example, you see, like, I would ask my chatbot, like, I'd like to transfer 50 euros to my wife's bank account. And it will make all the call to the backend system in this case. And then it will tell me, sure, 50 euro is transferred to your wife's bank account. Do you want to hear the balance now? If you want to create such a flow for a conversation agent, such as Google Home, in that case, the flow is almost the same. There's just one step extra in front of it, where it is that you talk to the Google Assistant first, and you invoke your custom agent. So I would say, okay, Google, talk to my banking agent. And then you hear the voice change. I hear maybe, you can probably choose like between 2 or 4 different types of voices, like male or female voices, and they will say, sure, here's the banking agent. And then you can start talking within your Google Home to the banking agent, and the banking agent can talk to their own systems. Here you can see look how it works in the Dialogflow platform. Let's say you have intents. An intent in this case is the user flow. It's the mapping between what the user says and the action that needs to be taken on. So in this case, if I would come back with the TV guide example, and if I would ask like what's on blank, that can be a channel name, what's on RTL4, then it will understand the intent is the full sentence, but the action that I need to take, or the object that I need to take action on, that is actually the channel name. So the Nederland 1, 2, 3. So here's how that looks in the website. You select the intents in the menu, and then you can start writing out your intents, and you can even test it. On the right side of the screen, you will see like a demo box where you can start typing, and it will live give you test results back or answers. Now there is a tab called Entities within the Dialogflow platform. Dialogflow is just a web application, by the way. You just go to the URL and then you get this interface. And entities, these are all the objects. So in case of the TV guide, I would list here all the TV channels that I have and that are mappings to my external system. You can train your chatbot or your conversation. So based on the questions that people have been asking, I can approve it and say like, this was a correct answer that my chatbot gave back. or I can downvote it. I say like, yeah, well, next time, yeah, actually a different answer I like to get. So over time, it becomes smarter. There is a bot analytics integration. So if you go to the analytics tab in the Dialogflow screen, then you can get some extra information. You can see on which intents have been called and how fast it responded, and also like the type of answers that were given back. In this screen, you see pre-built agents. So it's also possible to leverage from the Dialogflow agents that were built before by Google. So you can take a look into their code or into their intent and see how they did it, or even reuse it. Fulfillment. This is the webhook. So in case you want to integrate your chatbot with an external system or a web service, now then you would select the fulfillment option in the menu screen, and from there you can specify a parameter. Now, what you typically do in your intent, you will mark it and say like this intent actually makes use of a webhook, and this will be the name of the webhook that I will make use of. And then it knows like the entities that I'm using in my intent will be sent as a parameter to some external system. Here you can see that then I pre-fill a URL in my webhook. And there I can say now every time when I call this intent, we will actually make a call to this server and start sending the parameters and making sure that we get some results back, but from an external system. If you don't want to work with webhooks and so, or you don't have external systems, that's fine too. You can also hard code responses in the platform itself. But this gives it just a little bit extra just to make it even more smarter. Here you can see an example of a webhook. So again, if I would say transfer 50 euros to my wife's bank account, what it will do, it will take the 50 euro, that's a parameter, that's actually the money, and then some bank account. So maybe in my internal or in my application that I created, I have like the mapping between my wife's bank account and the true IBAN number. And then if it's successful, so you make the call, the system said it went okay, then I will say it in a human way back, like, okay, I successfully transferred 50 euro over. Now, this idea, you can even combine it with all kinds of smart solutions. You can put code in front of your chatbot, and you can put code after your chatbot. So as an example, you could, for example, if you have customer care in your company, where people are working in a help desk, you can even make it that powerful that your employees take up the phone and have a real live conversation with a customer, and that you write out or transcript the text, for example, through Speech API, the machine learning API, and you take that text and then you pass that text into the Dialogflow platform. And then the Dialog platform can give you an answer back, and maybe that answer shows a live answer on the screen so that the help desk employee knows exactly what to answer back, and your calls can go faster. Maybe you even put some code afterwards where you log all the questions that have been asked, and you put it in a data warehouse such as BigQuery, so that you can get some insights on the information or the questions that your customers have been asked. Can be very handy. Now, lastly, you can integrate this within your within all kinds of platforms. There are integrations for obviously Google Home, but there are also integrations for websites. You can show it in an iframe, and then it's just one click and it's there. But you can also use the Java or the iOS SDKs or the Android SDKs, and then you can implement the Dialogflow conversation within your own website, so it gets the own website look and feel. Yeah, and also Skype, Slack, Facebook, Alexa, Cortana, it's all integrated. Usually the way how it works is you pass in your API key and you're good to go. Here you can see an example of a chatbot. This is if you would create a chatbot as an iframe in your website, or as a pop-up in the bottom of your website where it just pops up. You're now talking to one of our employees. yeah, you can very easily integrate that. If you want to create it for Google Home, yeah, you can test it on your own devices, of course, or you can test it on your Android phones. But you can also test this on your own laptop, on your MacBook. The way how it works is there is within the Google Cloud there is Actions on Google feature, and you enable that, and then you can get access to the simulator where you can start testing your conversation by typing or through your microphone in your laptop, and you can get the right answers back. And if you like it, then you can test it on your device. When you're like totally happy with your conversation agent and you think like, now I want to publish it to Google Home, yeah, you have to go to some type of review process where your custom agent needs to be approved by Google. And typically what we do is we take a look to your agent name to make sure that this is unique, because you can obviously only call it once. And yeah, it also takes a look to make sure that the microphone is not always open, because that's actually a bad design decision and your app wouldn't be approved if you do that. So usually you get an answer back right away, but yeah, it's up to a week that this review process can take. Now, who nowadays is making use of Dialogflow? Think about companies like KLM, Dutch Royal Airlines, but also CNN, NPR, Comcast. They're all already making use of chatbots or conversation agents. Yeah. In case you think like, whoa, this is super fun, I'd like to try this out myself, I created some materials where you can create some type of TV guide agent, and then you can try it out for yourself, and so that you write a TV guide chatbot where you can ask like, oh, what's on the channel, and then it gives you data back. Could be fun. In case you'd like to hear more about this, I created some links, or put some links on the page with some resources. There are some resources where we have like examples, links to the Dialogflow platform, simulator, but also design documents. So definitely take a look into this and yeah, create your own bots. It's fun. What's next? Take a look on Dialogflow website, take a look on the GitHub or on Stack Overflow, and we can help you with answering questions. And that's it for now. So thank you so much. We will take some time to answer questions, so I'll see you back in a couple of seconds, right?
So, Lee, thank you very much for the introduction into chatbots and what we can do with Google Cloud.
You're welcome.
So, apparently there were lots of questions, and we found a couple of them, and we hope that you can answer them. So, first of all, let's start. Is there a multi-language language support in Dialogflow?
Yes, there is actually. Back in the days, people used to create chatbots where they create separate agents, and then they would try to mimic this approach. But nowadays, it's actually there. It's yeah. So you can try it. You can select multiple languages, and it will recognize the intents, and it will also, for certain languages, recognize the system entities, like dates, for example, or yeah, money. stuff. You can see that when you go to the Dialogflow docs, then you can search for multi-language or languages support, and you see a whole overview of all the languages that we support and all the system entities that we use. So definitely take a look in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question that was quite interesting was, can we reach the Google Assistant in iOS?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, like iOS is very close, but Dialogflow does have iOS SDKs. So you can take a look into that. When you go to the integration tab in the Dialogflow screen, then it will give you some guides on how to do that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, so when you start building applications, of course, and this was quite interesting, this question. So, with which database type Dialogflow will work better? For example, for booking something or something similar.
Yeah, I understand the question, but actually it doesn't really matter what type of database or backend you use. I mean, you can connect it to every endpoint that you want, as long as you can communicate JSON. I think that's best. So yeah, whatever database you use, it's up to you.
So as long as it's a REST call, then...
As long as it's a REST call.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. When I create a chatbot, how does it work with development, test, and production? How does it work?
That's a good question. What I've seen people doing is they create a separate agents. So they create an agent for dev, they create an agent for test, and an agent for production. And then they use the dev agent to play around with and then create the features. And then when they think it's finalized, what they do is they export the chatbot, because there's an export feature there, and then you import it in the other agent. And then you can run your test on that, and you do the same approach for production. It's also great to create backups this way, or you can even put it in versioning control. At the end, it's just JSON files.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes it indeed quite easy.
Yeah.
Is there support for rich messages?
There is support for rich messages, yes. So
Please
think
explain.
about links and
Okay.
and images. When you go to the Dialog website and look into the docs, they give you exactly the guidance on how you can integrate that. But yeah, you can do that. It is actually looks super
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
And is there support for chat-based?
Yes, so there's a platform called Chatbase, which helps you with chatbot analytics, monitoring and logging of intents. There's support for that as well, and you can even integrate it that way that your intents will show up in Chatbase. There are guides for that as well, so definitely look into that. Yeah.
Okay, last question, because apparently we also have lots of people who are working in production environments, which have DevOps kind of environments.
Yeah.
So how can I automate testing while creating a bot?
That's a good question, yes. Actually, they're in the training tab of the Dialogflow. It is possible to upload a file, or it can be a zip file or a JSON file, I believe, which contains all the intents. So then you can test the intents and see if it gives you the right answer back. Another way of doing this is it actually has an own endpoint, the /query endpoint. So you could create your own software or your own scripts, for example, that you can execute, and then you test it by posting all your intents to that endpoint.
Okay.
Could be fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully all the questions, thank you for the answers on these questions. So yeah, the chatbot is quite interesting. It has very much a high potential product, of course. Yeah. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bye.